Heartwarming redemption. After one shocking incident in court, a black woman's incredible transformation leaves a small town in awe. Tasha's heart raced as she walked into the packed courtroom, a swirl of anxious energy filling the air. She could feel the eyes of the small Midwestern town boring into her, each gaze heavy with judgment and curiosity. It was the day of her father's hearing, a moment she dreaded for years. A Vietnam vet, her father had spent decades lost to his demons, but today, he had come back to seek redemption. Tasha stood tall, driven not only by her own dreams of being a nurse but also for her spirited 8-year-old son, Malik, who clung to her side, blissfully unaware of the stakes. As the judge called the court to order, Tasha felt a knot in her stomach tighten. This was her chance to reclaim her family, to break free from the shadows cast by her father's choices. But as the trial unfolded, the tension in the room thickened. Her father's trembling voice recounted the horrors of war and the battles he faced long after he returned home, but just as he was about to make his case for another chance, an unexpected outburst erupted from the back of the room. "Why should we believe you, after all you've done?" The voice cut through the silence like glass shattering, and gasps filled the air. The person, a familiar face from town, had ignited something buried deep within the community. Tasha's heart pounded loudly in her chest, the weight of prejudice and disapproval crashing against her. She could feel the tension escalate, a collective breath held in anticipation. Before she even realized it, Tasha stood up, a fire igniting in her soul. "You don't know him. You don't know us," she exclaimed, the words bursting from her lips with a fierce clarity. The courtroom fell silent as her voice echoed. "We all struggle. We all deserve a chance." It was a raw moment, one that transcended her family's history. An electric recognition washed over the room as the townsfolk began to confront their biases, faces shifting from indifference to reflection. Yet, just when the tide seemed to turn, the commotion only escalated, voices clashing in a cacophony of misunderstanding. Tasha's heart sank. She felt torn between her father and her son, yearning for peace but furiously aware of the generational baggage weighing down their spirits. Would her father's redemption come at the cost of her own dignity? Before we continue, I need to let you know about something important that's happening. YouTube has been making changes to the system and many people are losing notifications from channels they follow. If you're enjoying the content, hit that bell and mark all notifications so you don't miss the next videos. And if you can drop a like, it really helps me with reach. Seriously, it makes a difference. Oh, let me know in the comments where you're watching from. I'm always curious to know who's on the other side of the screen. Now let's continue. The echoes of their confrontation lingered in Tasha's mind as she reeled from the conflicting emotions of hope and despair. The love of her family battled against the town's deep-rooted beliefs, and the path to healing felt more daunting than ever. As the atmosphere thickened, she knew she had to navigate these treacherous waters. Was there a way to bridge the gap between her father's darkness and her future hope for Malik? With each reunion comes a heartbreakingly challenging realization: love must fight against the odds. Yet, in Tasha's heart, a glimmer of strength remained. If she could confront a room full of prejudice, perhaps redemption was not only possible but within her reach. Just as the gavel descended, sealing a tumultuous day, she understood this was just the beginning. Her journey of rediscovery and the quest for belonging was far from over. But would the town rally behind her in this fight for acceptance, or would the ghosts of the past cloud their vision? Tasha stood frozen for a moment after the judge's gavel struck, the echo still reverberating in her ears. She felt Malik's little hand squeeze hers, grounding her as the crowd began to disperse. Whispers swirled around like a bee swarm, stinging her heart with every word she caught. Some debated the case, others debated her father's history. The weight of generations felt like a tidal wave threatening to pull her under. "Mom, are we okay?" Malik's innocent voice broke through her overwhelmed thoughts. His small face looked up at her, and in those wide eyes, Tasha saw her reflected feelings. Fear. Hope. Confusion. She knelt down, meeting his gaze head-on. "We're okay, baby," she assured him, though her voice trembled. As they made their way out of the courtroom, Tasha caught sight of faces she recognized, neighbors, friends, those she had grown up with. Some offered sympathetic nods, while others averted their eyes, the tension palpable. It was hard to ignore the questioning looks. It felt as if the judgment didn't just reflect on her father but also on her. She was woven into this story, for better or worse. Once outside, the cool air hit her cheeks. She stood beside Malik, trying to get her thoughts in order. He flitted around, curious, taking in the sounds of the world outside. "Can we go get ice cream?" he asked, his excitement a stark contrast to the storm brewing in Tasha's heart. "I promise, right after we talk to your grandma," Tasha replied half-heartedly. The mention of her mother felt like bringing a splash of cold water over her boiling feelings. Grandma would want to know everything, to judge, to worry. They drove in silence, Tasha's mind racing. What would she even say to her mom? Would she be disappointed in her father again? As she pulled into her mother's driveway, Tasha took a deep breath, steadying herself. She stepped out, and Malik followed, pulling open the door as they entered. "Tasha!" her mother exclaimed, her eyes immediately narrowing. The room held a weight that made Tasha feel small. She forced a smile, but it quickly faded as she caught sight of her mom's furrowed brow. "How did it go?" Mom asked, arms crossed tightly against her chest. "It was intense," Tasha started cautiously, gauging her mother's reaction. "Dad was trying to explain how things got so bad for him. I defended him." "What? Why would you do that?" Her mother's voice rose, filling the room. "After everything he has done? Because he is still my father. I thought maybe we could help him, you know. He is trying to change." Tasha felt the frustration bubbling inside her, a wave crashing against the shore of her mother's disbelief. "We've tried before, Tasha. This is a waste of time." Malik, sensing the tension, tugged at Tasha's shirt. She knelt and looked into his eyes. "Everything will be okay, right?" "Of course," she whispered, forcing a smile in hopes it would reassure both of them. But uncertainty loomed larger than life. She feared for Malik growing up under the shadow of their family's past. As Tasha sensed the silence stretching between them, a thought hit her. What if her father's redemption wasn't just about him? What if it could lead to her own healing? Taking a deep breath, she stood. "I want to give him another chance. Whatever that means for us." Her mother's face hardened, but before she could respond, Malik exclaimed, "Can we have ice cream now?" Tasha half laughed, half cried at her son's sweet interruption, but she couldn't shake the feeling of impending conflict. As they left, Tasha's heart felt heavy yet hopeful. Yes, the road ahead would be difficult, full of judgments and decisions. But maybe, just maybe, every family deserved a shot at redemption, even if it came wrapped in the pain of past choices. It was then she felt something shift inside her, a quiet resolve. They could rebuild. But would the town, with its preconceived notions, allow her family to do so? As they drove off, the car filled with Malik's laughter, Tasha realized this was only the beginning of their journey. Would love be enough to face what was coming? The ice cream shop was a neighborhood staple, colorful and vibrant. The walls were adorned with murals depicting summer days, families laughing, and kids enjoying giant bowls of colorful treats. It felt like a little oasis, a place where worries could temporarily dissolve, at least for a moment. Tasha watched Malik leap toward the counter, his eyes wide with wonder, already imagining the flavors he might pick. Standing by the entrance, she felt the tightness in her chest begin to loosen, if only slightly. The sweet aroma of waffle cones filled the air, mixing with the chatter of children and laughter. Maybe just for today, that storm brewing inside her could take a back seat. She joined Malik at the counter, scanning the choices. "Can I get blue raspberry and sprinkles?" he asked eagerly, his little fingers dancing over the menu. "Absolutely. Just like the last time," Tasha replied, and they both giggled, sharing a small moment of joy. She ordered a scoop of mint chocolate chip for herself, needing the soothing taste of comfort. Once settled at a small table outside, Malik dug into his treat with enthusiasm, the ice cream smudged around his mouth, giving him the look of a carefree child caught in a blissful moment. Tasha tried to match his enthusiasm, but her smile felt fragile, the heaviness returning as thoughts of her father flickered in her mind. She watched Malik, so innocent, and wondered how someone could hurt the people they loved and still be worthy of love themselves. "Mom, look!" Malik exclaimed suddenly, holding his ice cream high like a trophy. "This is the best." Tasha felt herself smile genuinely now, imagining how light life could be if those judgments didn't exist. "It looks amazing, buddy. I'm glad we came. Can we come back tomorrow?" His eyes sparkled, innocence in every word. "Let us see how things go, okay?" She replied softly, battling the conflict rising inside her again. A couple at the next table caught her eye. They were chatting quietly, but Tasha felt the weight of their stares, their whispered conversations. It wasn't just her imagination, she could read the lines of concern etched on their faces. The distrust, the opinions forming as they looked at her at them. It came rushing back like a tide. "Is everything okay, Mom?" Malik's voice broke her reverie, concern flooding his little face. "Yes, everything is fine." Tasha forced, her heart aching. His innocent question hung between them, and in that moment, she realized how hard it was to shield him from the world's injustices. "Can we walk around after?" Malik asked, licking his ice cream as if it would soothe the atmosphere around them. "Sure, we can do that," she smiled, hoping to redirect both their thoughts. As they strolled along the familiar streets, Tasha's heart felt heavy. She knew they were facing more than just her father's troubles, it was the weight of the community's perception, the fear of being judged at every turn. "Why don't people love everyone?" Malik asked innocently, his words cutting through her turbulent thoughts. "Sometimes, people just don't understand. It's hard to see the good in each other when there's so much fear and pain," Tasha explained, hoping to give him a glimpse of the world without dimming his bright spirit. "Can't they just ice cream with us?" Malik suggested, laughing lightly, his innocent smile spreading warmth through her heart. "Maybe one day they will, buddy," she replied, appreciating how his perspective was crystal clear and uncomplicated. As they wandered past the park, Tasha felt a surge of determination. Malik deserved a chance at a world where understanding prevailed over judgment. She knew she had to fight for that, for both of them. Could love triumph against the tide of the past? Just then, her phone buzzed in her pocket. She took it out and saw a message from her father. Her heart raced as she read the words, "I need to talk to you. It's important." The weight of that message hung in the air, an unexpected shift in their journey. What could he possibly want now? Would she open the door to his world once again? Tasha's breath caught in her throat. Would she take that leap against all odds? Would it lead to healing or heartbreak? The uncertainty loomed ahead, and she couldn't shake the feeling that things were about to change once again. Tasha's fingers trembled as she stared at the screen. She felt her pulse quicken, a mix of fear and hope churning inside her. The ice cream cone melted in Malik's hand, forgotten as he too sensed the shift in his mother's energy. "Mom?" Malik looked up, his big brown eyes searching her face. "Are you okay?" "Yeah, sweetheart. Just thinking." Tasha forced a smile, but it didn't reach her eyes. The ice cream shop felt suddenly too loud, too bright. It was like the world was spinning faster while she stood frozen in place. After a few deep breaths, she managed to kneel beside Malik. "How about we head home and we can talk a little more, okay?" Malik nodded, though he kept glancing between her and the ice cream. "Okay. Can I keep my cone?" "Of course. But let us hurry." She took his hand and they walked onward, the streets blurring in their familiar twists and turns. Tasha replayed the message over and over in her mind as they walked, each time stoking the fire of anxiety. Why would he want to talk? After all this time? Guilt swirled inside her. Was it selfish to hope for reconciliation? Did she want that for Malik, or for herself? They reached their small apartment, and Tasha took a moment to catch her breath before stepping inside. The usual warmth of home felt stark today. As she closed the door, Malik rushed toward his toys, laughter bubbling up again, effortlessly drawing her back to the present moment. "Mom! Look what I can do." He picked up his toy airplane and zoomed it through the air, his laughter like sweet music. "Wow, you're an expert pilot." Tasha clapped, feeling a sliver of joy as she watched him play. The innocence of his spirit reminded her of the hope she needed to harbor for them both. "Can we watch the rocket launch video?" he asked, his eyes wide with excitement. "Sure, buddy." She felt the weight ease off her shoulders just a little. It was a distraction, but she needed those moments, the smiles they shared, the lightness that made the heaviness slightly less suffocating. As the video played, Malik's laughter filled the room, but Tasha couldn't fully immerse herself. Her thoughts spiraled back to her father, their strained past and the possibility of reopening old wounds. Still, the notion of reconciliation tugged at her heart, but was she ready for that journey? After the video finished, Malik, now lying on the floor surrounded by his toys, looked up at her. "Are we going to see Grandpa?" The question hung in the air, thick with unspoken fears and feelings. Maybe. Tasha hesitated, her chest tightening again. "Why do you look sad?" He sat up, concern etching his little face. "I'm not sad, just thinking." Tasha put on a brave face. "Sometimes grown-ups have hard decisions to make. Like whether to have sprinkles or no sprinkles?" Malik asked, giggling at his own joke. "Exactly." She laughed softly, grateful for his ability to bring lightness into the room. But deep down, she knew this was a far more complicated decision. As evening slipped in, and shadows painted their small space, Tasha found herself staring out the window. Questions raced through her mind. If she met her father again, would it be a chance for healing? Or would it unravel all the progress they had made in creating a safe space? Just then, her phone buzzed again, pulling her from her thoughts. It was another message from her father, simply reading, "I miss you." The words knocked the breath from her lungs. It wasn't just the message that stirred something in her, it was what it represented, the longing for connection. Malik's small hands tugged at her arm, bringing her back. "Mom, let us make a cake. To celebrate." Tasha thought for a moment. Could baking together be a way to celebrate the possibility of change? Could it stand for healing? "All right, let us bake a cake," she smiled, feeling both hope and nerves flutter in her stomach. As Malik clapped with glee, Tasha's heart raced. The future felt uncertain, but for the first time in a long time, it glimmered with possibility. Would she have the courage to face her past? As they gathered the ingredients, her mind crept back to her father. Tomorrow was a new day, and so was the decision that loomed before her. Would she finally choose to step into the conversation, embracing vulnerability? Or would she stay trapped in the shadows of fear? The questions buzzed in her head like a swarm of bees, but one thing was clearer than ever: tomorrow, everything could change. The next morning, sunlight streamed through the kitchen window, casting a warm glow on the counter where Tasha and Malik stood, surrounded by bowls and baking supplies. The air was thick with the sweet scent of vanilla and the promise of chocolate, as they stirred together their cake batter. "Can I crack the eggs?" Malik asked, bouncing on his toes with excitement. "Just be careful, okay?" Tasha smiled, handing him the eggs. She watched as he concentrated with furrowed brows, gently tapping one against the edge of the bowl. It broke, and a proud grin broke across his face as he expertly let the contents slide into the mixture. "Look, Mom. I did it!" he squealed, a burst of joy radiating from him. "That's perfect. You're a natural chef." Tasha's heart swelled with affection. In moments like this, it felt like everything could be alright, like past sorrows could be washed away. As they mixed and poured the batter into a pan, the noise of their cheerful chaos filled the apartment, pushing aside Tasha's worries, if only for a little while. Still, beneath the surface, her anxiety snaked through her thoughts. What would happen when she faced her father? Would he truly be different? Would she? The hopeful glimmer she felt last night began to fade, crumbling under the weight of uncertainty. Mom! Look at our cake! Malik's voice broke her from her thoughts. They stood in front of the oven, hands on hips, watching as it rose beautifully. Yes. It's going to be amazing, she replied, masking her hesitation behind a smile. Just then, the phone buzzed again. This time it was an incoming video call from her father. Tasha's stomach twisted. Do you want me to answer? Malik asked, looking at the screen with curiosity. Just give me a second, okay? Tasha said, her voice shaking slightly. She took a deep breath, feeling the weight of the moment hanging over her. Let us not ignore it. Maybe he wants to see us. Malik's innocent wisdom hit her hard. What if it was time to stop running from her past? To face the man who had left so many scars? With trembling fingers, she pressed the button to connect the call. Her father's face appeared on the screen, looking older but still familiar. Hey, Tasha, he said, his voice shaky. She could see that same longing reflected in his eyes, the same one that had been in his messages. Hi, Dad, she managed to say, her pulse racing. Malik? He stared at her son, his expression softening. You've grown so much. Hi, Grandpa. Malik waved enthusiastically, oblivious to the weight of their history and the knots forming in Tasha's stomach. Can I talk to him? Her father's gaze shifted back. The hope in his voice stirred something deep within Tasha. Sure, she hesitated but gestured for Malik to come closer. As he approached, she felt something shift in her, a tiny flicker of hope. Grandpa, do you want to see the cake we're making? Malik chirped. It's going to be huge, and it'll have lots of sprinkles. Sprinkles, huh? Just like the ones I used to get you, her father said, a smile breaking through the tension. Yeah. Malik giggled, and Tasha watched the connection spark between them. As the conversation unfolded, Tasha leaned against the counter, arms crossed, heart racing. Had she just opened a door she wasn't ready to walk through? But then Malik turned to her, his face full of excitement. Mom! This is good, right? Like, we're talking and everything. Yeah, buddy, it is, Tasha replied, feeling the warmth radiate back into her chest. The clock ticked softly in the background, reminding her of the choices laid ahead. Could this truly be a path toward healing? As the two of them bonded over cake recipes and childhood memories, for the first time, she saw a glimmer of the family that could be imperfect, maybe, but real. Do you think we could see each other soon? Her father asked, breaking her reverie. Tasha exhaled slowly, knowing the next words could shift everything. Maybe yes. As Malik squealed with delight, a mixture of hope and fear swirled within her. They had just begun baking a cake, but was it possible to also begin to mend their broken family? Tomorrow would be a dance on the edge of vulnerability and reconciliation. Would she step forward into the light or remain hidden in the shadows of doubt? In that moment, Tasha knew one thing: change was knocking at their door, and she had to decide whether to answer. The evening brought with it an unexpected hush. The sun dipped low, painting the sky in hues of orange and violet. Tasha stood by the kitchen window, her heart still fluttering from the video call with her father. She felt those old wounds stirring, but alongside them, a flicker of warmth from Malik's laughter echoed in her ears. Mom, can we have ice cream with the cake? Malik's sweet voice pulled her from her musings. Of course. Let me grab some from the freezer. Tasha forced a smile as she turned. She wasn't just shaping a dessert, she was crafting a moment, something sweet to balance out the bitterness she had endured for so long. As they scooped the ice cream into bowls, Tasha's mind was a whirlwind. Malik's excitement was palpable, his little fingers dancing over the ice cream tub. But underneath that joy lay her trepidation about what tomorrow might bring. Visiting her father was one thing, trusting him was another. Could she allow him back into their lives after all that had happened? "Mom, can you promise we'll make this cake every year?" Malik asked, his eyes wide, his mouth smeared with chocolate ice cream. "Every year, buddy," she replied, a sense of resolve creeping in as if answering his question strengthened her own spirit. Tasha led them to the living room, where they plopped down onto the couch. She pulled the cake from the oven, its sweet aroma filling the room. The edges were golden brown, and sprinkles adorned the top like confetti, her little celebration of hope. A party for two, she thought, and it felt right. "Let us eat," Malik declared, his eyes lighting up as she placed the cake in front of them. They cut into the fluffy goodness, laughter erupting as frosting splattered on Malik's cheeks. "Oh! Cake monster!" he giggled, earning a playful shove from Tasha. In that moment, amidst the fluffy cake and playful banter, she realized something. No matter how tangled her past was, this her life with Malik was the canvas she wanted to paint. She wanted to create something beautiful out of the chaos. As they dug into their slices, Tasha couldn't help but stare at Malik, who was demolishing his cake like a little champion. Each bite he took filled her with a new determination. She needed to embrace this journey, darkness and all. "Remember when I said every year? I think we should make it a big family occasion. Invite everyone we love. Even Grandpa?" Malik asked with a mouth full of cake. "Even Grandpa," Tasha confirmed, though her heart started racing again. His name tasted bittersweet on her tongue. "Okay. I can wait to see him," Malik chirped, blissfully unaware of the storm brewing in his mother's heart. They finished their cake, laughter ringing through the house. Yet as night fell, Tasha found herself standing by the window again, looking out into the darkened streets. The weight of her past loomed large, but she felt anchored by her son's joy, his innocence. Would she embrace the risks involved in reconnecting with her father? The bubbling excitement melting away her doubt blinked fiercely, but what if he didn't live up to their hope? She bit her lip, the weight of the decision settling heavily within her. As she turned to Malik, asleep on the couch, she realized tomorrow was more than just meeting her father again. It was a step towards rewriting their family narrative. And the possibilities of what that might mean sent a shiver down her spine. Would she finally see herself as worthy of forgiveness and love, or would she retreat back into the shadows of doubt? With a deep breath, she whispered, "Tomorrow is a new beginning." And she could feel, in the depths of her heart, that whatever happened, she would face it head-on. But as she turned off the lights, a question echoed in her mind: what would her father bring into their new chapter? Tasha woke up to a soft glow filtering through the curtains. The sun danced across the room, and for a fleeting moment, it painted everything with warmth and a hint of hope. She rubbed her eyes, the events of last night rushing back: Malik, the cake, and the thoughts of her father seeping in alongside the sweet remnants of chocolate frosting. After a few moments of stillness, she glanced at the clock. Time was slipping away. In the back of her mind, the anxiety knotted tighter as the minutes ticked by. Today wasn't just another day, it was a reckoning. She needed to prepare, not just her body, but also her heart. "Malik," she called softly, moving to his small bed. She gently shook his shoulder, feeling the familiar flutter of protective love within her. "Time to wake up, buddy." He stirred, blinked his big brown eyes open, and yawned. "Is it cake time?" he mumbled, still half asleep. "Not yet, but soon, I promise," she replied, chuckling a little at his innocence. "Today is special, you get to see Grandpa." Malik's face lit up. "Really? Wow. Is he bringing treats? He asked, instantly energized. Tasha smoothed his tangled hair, feeling the warmth of his excitement flow through her. We'll see, she said, masking her own uncertainty behind a smile. Get dressed, and I'll make us breakfast. As she moved about the kitchen, cooking their usual scrambled eggs and toast, her mind wandered back to the day she'd first laid eyes on her father after all those years. The shame and the hurt had clouded her judgment, feeding into an endless cycle of disappointment. But today, she resolved, would be about building bridges, not the walls she had erected to keep her father out. Malik hummed happily while eating, the sunlight illuminating his joy. Tasha savored these small moments, little slices of normalcy that helped distract her from the feelings gnawing inside. When breakfast was done, she stepped out to the balcony, inhaling the crisp morning air, tension melding around her heart like a second skin. The clock ticked closer to the meeting. Every passing moment felt like an hour. When she caught herself tapping her foot, she stopped and turned back inside. We have to leave soon, sweetheart. Okay. Malik chirped, oblivious to her nerves. He finished his meal, and Tasha gathered their things, checking the clock again. Time was shrinking, and she needed to calm her racing heart. Deep breaths, she whispered to herself as they slid into the car. Malik chattered away, excited about reuniting with his grandpa, completely unaware of the memories tangled in Tasha's mind, memories of pain and confusion. And then she felt it, the weight of the past lurking like a shadow behind her. The drive seemed endless. With each bump on the road, her heart thudded louder. As they approached the courthouse, the familiar stone structure loomed over her, both intimidating and strangely comforting at the same time. Deep breaths, Tasha, she repeated like a mantra. Can we watch the big clock, Mom? Malik asked, pointing at the vintage clock tower across the street. Sure, buddy, but let us keep our eyes on the prize, she replied, attempting to reassure him and herself in the same breath. The moment they stepped out of the car, the air shifted. Tasha felt a cocoon of nervous energy envelop her. The courthouse was bustling with people, their voices rising and falling like waves. As Malik skipped ahead, curious about everything, Tasha's heart raced. Ready or not, here we go, she whispered, feeling the weight of the decision to rekindle their relationship press upon her. She grabbed Malik's hand tightly, the warmth of his tiny fingers giving her courage. Together, they walked towards the imposing doors. Today could shatter their family or stitch it back together. Just as they stepped inside, Tasha froze. There stood her father, an unfamiliar figure deeply entwined in her history. Would he be the man she remembered or someone she didn't recognize at all? Taking a steadying breath, Tasha made her choice, knowing that today was just the beginning. Her heart pounded fiercely. And as they moved closer, both excitement and dread danced within her. Would he truly change? With that question hanging in the air, she prepared for whatever awaited them in that room. Tasha stood still for a heartbeat, her eyes locked on her father. The familiar lines of his face seemed both comforting and foreign, like echoes of a past she had tried to bury. He looked older, wearier, his eyes held a small flicker of vulnerability that struck her. Memories of laughter and heartache collided in her mind, each a reminder of the years lost. Dad? The word slipped from her lips, almost as a plea. His gaze shifted, locking onto her. For a moment, it felt like time stood still, suspending the world around them. Malik, sensing the charged air, squeezed Tasha's hand tighter. The man who had once left them, running away from responsibilities, now appeared more fragile. It was a jarring reminder that people could change, that redemption was possible, even when the past screamed otherwise. Tasha's heart softened, but a wave of doubt washed over her just as quickly. Could she really let him back in? Is that really you, Tasha? He finally managed, his voice choked with emotion. Yes, it's me. She felt the trembling in her own voice, surprising even herself. Malik peeked around Tasha, eyes wide, taking in the confrontation. You're my grandpa, right? he asked, his innocent curiosity piercing through the tension. His father's expression melted at Malik's words. "Yes, I am," he responded, a smile breaking through the uncertainty. It felt like a fragile beginning, but Tasha remained cautious. "Let us go into the courtroom," she suggested. The sound of the bustling crowd seemed to fade as they walked together, three figures slowly bridging a chasm of hurt and longing. Inside, the walls felt even more imposing. Tasha took a seat beside Malik, her father sitting across from them. The judge hadn't arrived yet, and the silence hung thick with unspoken words. Tasha could hear her own heartbeat echoing as she avoided her father's look. "Are you okay?" Malik whispered, looking up at her with innocent eyes. She forced a reassuring smile. "Yeah, buddy. Just a little nervous." Just then, her father reached for his pocket and pulled out a small object, a weathered toy car. "I found this while cleaning out the garage. I thought you might want it back." Tasha's breath hitched in her throat. The car was bright red, a treasure from their past, a remnant of childhood days when her father was still present. Memories surged, him teaching her how to ride a bike, the laughter that once filled their home. "Dad, She paused, struggling to find the right words. "No, I understand," he said quickly, his voice low. "I hurt you. I'll never be able to fix that, but I want to." Tasha's grip on Malik's hand tightened. Could she really believe him? The past loomed over them, a heavy cloud of disappointment. Yet, a glimmer of hope sparked within her. The judge entered the courtroom, and the atmosphere shifted. Attention turned to the front as the session began. Tasha felt the rush of fear and anticipation blend inside her. When the judge spoke, using words like family restoration and forgiveness, Tasha found it hard to concentrate. The weight of the moment pressed down on her chest. It was a tangible mix of possibility and fear. Would she be able to forgive? As the judge laid out the terms, Tasha glanced at her father. He seemed to be listening intently, leaning forward as if the information being relayed was a lifeline, not just a sentence. Their eyes met again, and something shifted between them. Tasha felt a wave of emotions crash over her: anger, love, hope, fear, all swirling together. And then it struck her, maybe the real trial today wasn't just in the courtroom, but within themselves. For her father, for Malik. She squeezed Malik's hand, grounding herself. The road ahead was uncertain, but nothing could change the fact they were together here, facing the past, one step at a time. As the judge turned to her father, asking for his plea, Tasha realized the moment of truth was upon them. Would he choose to fight for a second chance? In that instant, Tasha knew that no matter the outcome, their journey was just beginning, and she braced herself for whatever came next. Tasha's heart raced as the judge, wearing a neutral expression, turned his attention to her father. The courtroom felt suffocating, each second slipped by like treacle, heavy and slow. Malik squeezed her hand tighter, his little fingers finding comfort in her grip. The recorders clicked and whirred, capturing this pivotal moment, but all Tasha could focus on was what her father would say. He began, his voice trembling, "I want to take responsibility for my actions. I know I made mistakes. I've made a mess of things." The sincerity in his tone cut through some of Tasha's anger and disappointment. She could sense a shift, a flicker of genuine remorse flaring to life in her father's heart. Could he really mean that? Maybe time had changed him. "What do you mean?" The judge probed, pen poised over his notes. The room was silent, every pair of ears straining to catch the words that could shift everything. "I want to be in Tasha's life again," he insisted, looking directly at her. "I've spent too many years regretting my choices, and I understand that I may never earn your trust back, but I'm willing to try. For you, and for Malik." Malik's face lit up as he turned to Tasha. "See, he wants to be here." His innocence cut through the weight of the moment, pulling a small, almost involuntary smile from Tasha. But her smile faltered as her gaze returned to her father. "Dad, "It's not that simple," she said, her voice steady, but her heart raced with conflict. "You walked away from us. It took years for me to build a life without you in it." "I know," he acknowledged, his head hanging low, "and I know I've broken things between us. But I'm not asking for forgiveness yet. I just want a chance to show you that I can be better. I'm trying to change." Change. The word lingered in the air, heavy with meaning. Tasha considered his plea, the years of hurt flaring briefly in her mind like old wounds. She could hear small voices whispering in her heart, reminding her of happier times, of a father who taught her how to ride her bike and built her a tree house. "Do you even know what it means to be a dad?" she asked, a subtle challenge veiling her voice. "I know it means to show up, not just in words but in actions," he replied, meeting her gaze. "And I know I'm starting from scratch. But I promise I won't back down." The judge, listening attentively, cleared his throat. "Tasha, you have every right to protect yourself and your son. But considering your father's willingness to make amends, how do you wish to proceed?" Tasha's mind spun. Could she really open herself up after everything? Malik looked up at her, his innocence reminding her that family could be more than just blood. Perhaps forgiveness didn't mean trusting completely, at least not yet. I need time. I can't just jump into anything," Tasha admitted, her heart swaying between maintaining distance and yearning for familial connection. "Time is all I'm asking for," her father said quietly, relief washing over him momentarily, but the shadows of doubt lingered behind his eyes. Suddenly, the courtroom door swung open, drawing everyone's attention. A woman stormed in, her expression frantic. "I need to speak to the judge. I have crucial information about this case." Tasha's stomach twisted. What could possibly be more important than their fragile moment? She caught Malik's eye again, uncertainty flickering as he asked, "Mom, is this good or bad?" Taking a deep breath, Tasha felt the gales of change whip around them. She couldn't ignore the tug of the unknown, nor did she want to. They had embarked on a complicated journey, and now it looked like the stakes were even higher. What crucial revelation could this woman bring? Tasha's heart pounded, and the arena of courtroom drama shifted completely under the weight of a new twist. She felt the ground shift beneath her, and the anticipation grew palpable. Would this twist lead them closer to healing or tear them apart once again? As the woman stepped forward, the courtroom buzzed with whispers. The atmosphere thickened, charged with expectation. Tasha's heart raced, each tick of the clock felt like an eternity. Her grip on Malik's hand tightened, reflecting her conflicting emotions: fear, hope, and a desperate yearning for resolution. "Your Honor," the woman said urgently, her voice cutting through the silence like a knife. "I have information about Tasha's father that changes everything." Tasha's breath caught, and she glanced at her father. His face shifted from anticipation to dread, and the room felt electric. What revelation hung on the tip of the intruder's tongue? "I knew him during his time away," she continued, locking eyes with Tasha. "I was there in the darkest moments of his life. He needs the opportunity to show the person he can be." Gasps rippled through the crowd. Tasha's mind raced. Could this woman really understand the depths of her father's struggle? "Are you saying you believe he has changed?" Tasha asked, her voice echoing her skepticism. "You've seen it?" "I have," the woman affirmed, nodding her head. "He was in a support group with other veterans. He has been trying to right his wrongs ever since he came home." Tasha felt a flicker of hope. Could that truly be possible? Malik shifted beside her, whispering, "Does this mean Grandpa's not bad?" Tasha looked down at her son, seeing the innocence in his eyes. It mirrored the faith she had lost over the years. The judge looked at her father, who appeared visibly shaken but strangely hopeful. "Do you want to testify to this, sir?" the judge asked. "Yes," her father replied, voice low and steady. "I never thought I could return to a life worth living. But with support, I've been learning. It's a long road, but I want to be better. I want to be there for my children. Tasha's heart thudded. Was he speaking with sincerity? She felt her defenses quaking, cracking before the urgency of his plea and the reality laid bare before her. The past was still there, but it felt a little less daunting, a little more manageable. As her father spoke, tears formed in Tasha's eyes. He acknowledged his failures, his absence. The words were loaded with regret, but there was also an edge of determination that resonated within her. Malik, caught in the emotional tide, reached up to wipe her tear. Don't cry, Mommy. It's okay. A wave of warmth engulfed Tasha's heart, washing over her doubts. This moment was not just about her father, it was about their shared humanity. Tasha took a deep breath. I want to believe you, she finally said, finding her voice. But trust, and healing, it takes time. It's not just about being back in my life, it's about rebuilding. And I want to do that for Malik, for us. Time, her father echoed. I understand that now more than ever. If I can show you I'm worthy, will you at least consider reopening that door? A palpable silence lingered, filled with the weight of possibilities. Tasha glanced at Malik, whose eyes sparkled with hope, a child's innocent belief that goodness could prevail. She then looked back at her father, seeing a man who was fragile but willing to fight against the ghosts of his past. I'll take baby steps, Tasha said quietly but firmly. I'll need you to stay steady this time. The judge nodded, sensing the shift within the room. It seems like we have a new path forward then. Tasha, if you're open to it, I recommend family counseling. Take it one step at a time. It'll be about healing and understanding. Yes, Tasha agreed, feeling something inside her unfurl, one step at a time. As the court session wrapped up, the sense of relief was almost tangible. Tasha's heart felt lighter, she had chosen the path that could lead their family to progress. As they exited the courtroom, Malik's hand wrapped around his mother's strong grip, his laughter bubbling up as they stepped into the sunlight. Tasha felt a swell of love, mixed with apprehension. Change lay ahead, but this time she wouldn't face it alone. Can we get ice cream, Mom? Malik chirped, grinning. Of course, buddy. Ice cream it is. Tasha laughed, feeling that fragile piece of joy settle into her heart, holding on to hope for the journey ahead. In the hustle of their day, she realized that the moment was just the beginning. The past was still a part of them, but moving forward was now the priority. And as they headed towards the sweet aroma of ice cream, she felt ready to navigate whatever came their way. But most importantly, she was beginning to believe, love and redemption touched by understanding could break through the darkest shadows. If that meant looking ahead, then she would look, and this time, together, they would embrace the light. You need to subscribe now to be a part of these incredible transformations. This is the moment to show your support and witness how love can change lives. Don't wait not even one more second to share this powerful story with at least 5 friends who need to see that hope can prevail. Let's spread the message of unity and redemption. Leave a like now to feed the algorithm and keep these heartwarming narratives alive. Comment below and tell us your feelings about this ending.